Gavin is stroking a furry thing in between his legs.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, wherever this podcast may find you. It is I, Gavin.
And I, a dying Justin.
Happy hump day, everybody.
Yes, as per usual, our Wednesday is only slightly car-related. We did realize there was one thing we missed on Tuesday's episode, which we have to talk on real quick, which is to do with the CyberTruck.
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 So, I guess it's a company or a group called Electric put out a video of a Cybertruck versus an F-150 in a tug-of-war.
Right.
The most stupidest, pointless shit in the world.
Yes, but it's a spectacle, and Tesla fanboys will, go all crazy about it. So.
Electric power! Anyways, they're just gonna. Yeah.
It's weird. It's almost like electric cars make all the torque at 0 RPM, and gas cars actually have to work for it.
And it's also like the Tesla's rear tires were slightly deflated for better traction, and the F-150 was a rear-wheel drive, and had the brakes on.
Was the truck a 2-wheel drive only, or was it just in 2-wheel drive?
I believe it was a 2-wheel drive. It looks lower.
Gotcha. Okay.
And on top of that, if you look closely at the F-150, he holds his brakes as he pushes the gas.
Oh, what a little bitch.
Brakes traction. It's not like any of this was
staged or planned or
which is stupid because it doesn't need to be, but it just didn't look good to begin with.
Yeah, I'm sure Elon was probably there with the director, be like, all right, do it again.
Yeah, honestly, we get it. Electric cars have a shit ton of torque immediately,
which is great.
We don't need to keep proving this. It's just a fact. It's not a spectacle. I mean, if you were able to rig up a Model S to an F-350, it would probably out-tow it because the F-350 cannot put down its torque without weight on it.
By the way, speaking of crazy torque, so you know Karma, the new Fisker company.
Yes.
They make a thing, or they're going to make a thing. Now, have you seen this?
No.
The two-door coupe?
Let me pull it up.
I forgot what it's actually called, so I'm going to go onto their Instagram. But it makes 10,000 foot-pounds.
Wait.
Yes, you heard that right.
Sorry for the silence. I just am in utter 550.
It's called the SC2 concept vehicle.
Okay.
This is what it looks like. It looks really good. It looks like an electric car or like an electrified new Vantage, I guess, but with doors from an SLR McLaren. It's super rad. Yeah.
10,500 pound of torque per wheel.
Oh, is that per wheel?
The SC2 features front and rear-mounted twin electric motors that combine to produce a stunning 1,100 horsepower and 10,500 pounds of torque per wheel.
A 0-60 1.9 or less than 1.9 is what they say.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't engineering explained have a thing about it's actually impossible mathematically to have a vehicle accelerate from 0 to 60 in less than 2 seconds? Or in 1.9 or less?
Keep in mind this is a concept vehicle. These are all speculatory.
Sure.
I mean, I think the problem with that torque figure, you can't put that down.
It's tires.
It's impossible.
Yeah. And he even went into the rolling, the factor of, does the clock start when the car breaks traction, or when the wheels turn, or is it when the vehicle hits a certain,
actually gains forward momentum?
Yeah.
Which it's all, yeah, exactly. I mean, I think the way that I think it's when it gains forward momentum is what they measured off of, when it actually moves off the line.
Right.
But yeah, I'm going to put that in the I'll believe it when I see it box.
It looks awesome.
It looks gorgeous.
It looks fantastic. The outside,
I mean, I'd be perfectly fine if they cut that torque figure down to a measly 1,000 and just made it look like that.
I'd be okay with that. Dude, I would be happy if someone yanked the electrical system entirely and threw, a small, a 4-liter V8 or something.
Or a naturally aspirated V12. Oh, wait, we already have an Aston Martin. Never mind.
And, all Ferrari F12 and 812 and all that stuff.
Oh,
my God.
And a V12s.
Imagine a manual V12 that looks like that. My God.
Yeah. That'd be amazing.
Anyways, change the subject because I can't really focus anymore.
Yeah, that's our car things more or less for this week,
Yeah.
for this episode, because like we said, this is usually a different one. But there's a certain holiday coming up tomorrow.
Well, people tend to forget about this holiday because it isn't Christmas.
I know, because they already set up their Christmas lights, and sadly, I am guilty of this year only because if I wouldn't have set them up now, they wouldn't have gotten set up because of the snow. Otherwise, I would have waited till this next weekend.
Gotcha.
But when I saw it was going to snow, I knew that I had like a couple hours to throw them up yesterday, and so
You don't think there's going to be a single day between now and Christmas where there's going to be sun?
I can't count on that. So right now I have them off.
Oh.
Because my house has Eve outlets and a switch, so I can just switch them off and leave them off until the day, and then boom. So, anyways, this holiday we're talking about is Thanksgiving.
Yeah. You thankful?
I'm very thankful. I'm thankful for this lovely chair that I'm sitting my ass in.
It's very comfortable.
Yeah. No, so we're actually going to talk about different things that we're thankful for today, both car-related and not, and, just try to put some pizzazz back into this holiday that seems to be eked by the Christmas greed that, comes out 2 months earlier than it should.
Bah humbug.
Exactly. I am fucking Scrooge. Eat me.
Somewhere around here, I actually have a black Santa hat. And
jeez.
No, yeah. So imagine Santa's hat, but where it's red, it's black, and on the white, I guess headband, it says "Bah Humbug."
Oh, jeez.
In black.
Nice.
It still has the white ball at the end, and all the. That's
still a Santa hat. It's just black.
It's just black. It's very me.
Pretty much. So, I'll start off.
Actually, hold on.
I'm holding on. Oh, I think.
You don't have to hold on. You can get into it.
I think Gavin's getting the hat. I wish you all could see this visual of this turd in front of me. Anyways, so to begin with things that I am thankful for. I want to go on record, and this is not 100% political at all. It's just I'm thankful for the country we live in. In general, just regardless of whatever the fuck issue we're arguing about today, keep in mind that doesn't, in theory, that doesn't matter. We have the freedom to argue about those, which is fantastic.
It's also really easy to say that as a white male that lives in Utah, which is something that I'm very thankful for.
Granted, yeah. Okay.
We drew a couple of very lucky cards.
We did. Our sperms were quite lucky.
Yes.
And we somehow penetrated an egg and became a fetus.
I'll drink to that.
I'll drink to that as well. Sadly, I'm surprised Gavin doesn't have a beer today.
I know I have one. I could have one. No, and I'm not doing like a challenge or like a sober November or whatever. I'm just not drinking as much right now.
Okay, no, I get you.
Feels better.
So, anyways, no, that's definitely my first one. Is that regardless of whatever we're arguing about at this point today, I'm obtusely thankful for the freedom that I have to just do what the fuck I want for within reason.
Yes.
So.
And we can also get away with things within reason.
Exactly. So, what about you? What's your first thing?
What am I thankful for? I'm thankful for a lot of shit. I'm thankful for this apartment that we're able to host a podcast in, and I have a working heating system in Utah in the wintertime. That's fantastic. That's honestly amazing. Walking in from after helping with you pulling the people out of the road.
And it's warm and dry.
Yeah, I walk in, I'm just this wall of heat. I'm like, oh my God, this is great. What am I grateful for? Honestly, I'm astoundingly grateful for the people that we've met this year, that you and I have met and have worked with.
Yes.
For video projects or meeting up and just driving their cars or whatever. Really thankful for Ryan and Ray, the two GT3 owners.
Yeah.
That we got to hang out with and film their cars in June. Grateful for Brent Hoover, and I'm glad that I was able to network you with him and get you some detailing gigs. And I drove his V8 manual Vantage convertible through East Canyon. I think that was the first day driving through East Canyon for me this year. So that's a pretty good way to open up.
Yeah, and then we've got Randall and Steve.
We started a friendship.
We really did.
They're super chummy and like engaged with each other
all the time on Facebook. It's great.
It's awesome.
Because Randall posts some, lovely
The hardcore
satire
shit.
and,
the dank memes.
Exactly. A lot of good stuff, but also a lot of things that, incite thought and stuff.
He does.
And so
yeah.
Steve, they love to throw things back and forth, and it's great.
Yeah.
They're both awesome. And, man.
I'm thankful for our MULA trip that we did. It was honestly a fantastic trip.
It was.
What would be cool maybe next year is to get people that are fans of ours or something and get them to get like a group from Utah or an Exhibition of Speed, or have Exhibition of Speed sanction MULA and have it be not so much a Motor United thing, but like an hour thing that we host and it's ours and we lead it and all that stuff. I've had that thought a number of times.
My only goal for that next year, to drive the Audi down. That's my only goal, is to have
You can do that.
my Audi. Yeah, which it's within reason. I actually already have plans to get that done.
Well, yeah, it's like 11 months away now.
Yeah, and I already have plans to get that done sooner rather than later.
Yeah.
Because I need garage space and it not to be taking up space and my truck not to be getting so many miles.
As much as I would love to join you in that, I do kind of like being in my own vehicle.
Oh, no, you're good.
Yeah.
I'm just talking about I want it down there with me.
You should. You absolutely should.
Because it's a unique car.
I think next year, though, we need to get a team of slingshots together and go up. That road is now my white whale for MU.
Continues to evade him.
A little bit.
Yep.
But back to our... Hey, Jerry, can we get back to the task at hand?
We need...
I mean, I'm really incredibly thankful for it. Not even just the people that you and I have met with together, but for the people that have been believing in my photography and that have reached out and wanted and done paid shoots with photos and video alike. Shout out to Tony Hubbs. He came down from Bozeman to do like a couple like stance shows with his S4, and I shot it and published a video. Shout out to Diana Renner with her RS5. That was like when I shot her car, it was like the beginning of like 2019, being like, oh, this is actually like people want my work. So it was really cool to have that all happen. She has a Trackhawk now, by the way.
Oh, really?
Yeah, she still has the RS5, but she also has a Trackhawk.
Gotcha.
So Diana, let's talk. Let's work something out here, huh? No. But yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. I'm insanely grateful for the people for this year that we've been able to work with, and that we've had some really epic owners.
Yes.
That have been able to let us get away with some really cool things. So shout out to each and every one of you that have been able to help us out.
Yeah, it's been awesome, and we can only go up from here. It'll be a slow burn, as it always is with new things like this, because obviously we have jobs and lives, and it's sadly not our life yet. But
if I was independently wealthy, I would make Exhibition of Speed
your life,
my life. Yeah, and I drag you in it with me.
Yeah. Oh yeah, totally. But with me, it kind of on my own thing. This year, as some of you have heard, as we've talked on these Wednesday episodes, this year's been monumental for me because, like, even prior to this, I was technically an independent contractor. I wasn't an employee, but, like, at the time...
But you had a salary.
At the time, I still had, more or less, it was, a contracting salary where I was effectively contracted to keep shit running. And, it's the first time in my life that I haven't had a regular income coming in. Yeah. And, there was a whole situation surrounding it in March. I won't really get into the details of that, but the long story short is there was a small incident that happened that then I kind of decided that it was kind of time for me to part ways, really unexpectedly. To give you an idea of unexpectedly, the incident happened on Monday, and I talked on Wednesday and was done working on Sunday. That was done. Right. With no plan at that point. And that could have gone anywhere. And it still could go anywhere. It's still fresh. But from the course of April 1st, that's the funny thing. April 1st was the first day that I was unemployed. So everybody thought when I announced it that it was an April Fool's joke. Oh, God, that's right. Everybody thought it was an April Fool's joke. That didn't, like here earlier in the week when I actually did it. And... really from that point, I literally just started on April 1st, like, okay, what the fuck am I going to do? And this year could have gone anywhere because, I mean, sadly, I'm not like, I don't just like live in mommy and daddy's basement. Like, I have a house and I have people that live with me. And
you don't live in their basement?
No, I haven't for 5 years. I've grown my wings and flew away. But, you know, that really could have gone south very quickly.
Yeah, you could have immediately flopped.
I could have, yeah. Because
gone back to package runner with your tail between your legs.
Mm-hmm. And, you know, even now, like, you know, you've heard me mention that I am driving for them right now through the winter season for 2 reasons. Number one, it's a little extra cash flow, which is great, and I'll probably still continue it even a little after winter.
Right.
Because they need some extra people during Christmas. But, you know, number two, it's when we're able to, you know, I think it's kind of a testament of, like, don't ever burn bridges, because I could have,
right.
if I was, it would have taken me 2 seconds to burn a bridge and never been able to go back. I don't ever believe in that, though. Mm-hmm. And, you know, so I was able to make something out of it. I don't do what I used to do, which is fine, because I don't want to do that. I still run my company. I still have details during the week, but I'm able to make sure that, like, since the winter is slower, I'm not dying and, like, on the verge of bankruptcy.
Right.
And I'm very thankful for that as well. In fact, actually, I'm imminently thankful because it's been working great the past 2 weeks, honestly. And it's relieved a lot of stress that I was feeling before of, like, oh shit, what am I going to do? I'm, you know, a new business is pretty much, if you don't have a lot of financial backing, which I don't, a lot of businesses are started, you know, with some money in the coffers or with a loan or with an investor. I have none of the above. And so it's, you know, been constantly running like, okay, real low on checking accounts, need to find something to do. And, you know, it's, you can always find things to do, like go get a job, but then you have to wait 2 weeks for that paycheck. So when you're at a point where, like, I need money now, it gets hard. Anyways, you know.
JG Wentworth, 877 cash now.
I know, right? Yeah.
That's your money.
That's the way you slowly go bankrupt. That's stabbing yourself, giving yourself some, like, you know, cocaine to boost yourself real quick in that wound, and then finishing cutting the wound all the way down your arm.
By the way, I'm also super grateful for podcasts.
Yes.
Not just this one, but others. There's this one that I'm tuning into right now called The Dollop. Mm-hmm. I don't know have I told you this?
I know The Dollop.
You already knew them. Mm-hmm. So I've been tuning into them. And I just went and did somewhat of a deep dive on their work today, and they had a whole thing. I'm slowly working through it, but it's on opium.
Yeah,
it's even a 2-parter, so they go pretty hard in the paint. But for those that don't know The Dollop, it's these 2 improv guys. I don't even know if they're like just stand-up comics on their own or whatever, but they have the show, and it's about American history. And they do it through storytelling, where one of them knows everything about the history and is telling the history, and the other one is engaging and reacting to it and doesn't know anything about it. So the very first one that I heard was the Frank Lloyd Wright one, who was a fucking sociopath.
Yep.
That had cults and just lost. I mean, he didn't really have his shit together that much, but he then lost his shit that he didn't have.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's good. It's so good. It helps me through my day.
See, and I'm going to piggyback off that. I don't listen to podcasts much, ironically, even though I help host one.
You really should.
I've tried.
You really should.
I'm going to continue trying. I've tried. I've just never really been able to step into it. But there's a medium that both of us step into constantly, which is music. And I'm very thankful for music, and I know you're the same way.
I also assembled my record player that hasn't been played since I moved out of the first downtown Salt Lake house, and I moved out in May of 2016.
Yeah, so it's been a minute.
And I wasn't even playing it really that much, if at all, towards the end of that. So this player really hasn't seen much use in about 4 years. And my boss, bless her heart, about a year ago, gave me some speakers that she had. I didn't even really express anything about needing speakers for a record player, I don't think. She was just like, hey, do you want these? I was like, yeah, sure. I could be able to make that work. And it's just 2 tweeters and an interface that just has a volume knob. And they've been kind of floating around in my car for a little bit, and then I had the balls to just take them out of my car and put them somewhere in my apartment where they've been collecting dust for the last year. And this last weekend, I finally I assessed the speakers. I was like, okay, what do I need to make these work? Because I didn't even know if the speakers were any good, if the wiring in it was bad, if the interface was all bad. I didn't know anything, and so I looked at it and I started piecing it together like what I had, and I was like, okay, oh fuck, all I need is some speaker wire and something that'll take, a Y cable that'll take this RCA and put it into a 3.5 mil, and I'm good.
Yeah.
And so I looked around online at like the big box stores. I was like, no one really has anything that I need. And then I remembered this place that I've actually delivered flowers to like a couple times, Performance Audio.
Okay.
And they're like 2439 Southwest Temple.
Okay.
I think is where they are. They're West Temple by the freeway.
Yeah.
On the west side. And I gave them a call. I was like, hey, do you have these things possibly in stock? And they're like, yeah. I'm like, sick. You guys close in 45 minutes. I'm going to bounce over there right now.
Yep.
And so I did it. I cut wires. I've never cut wires or spliced anything before. So
wow. Big
this
boy moment.
This was huge for me. This was like a really big deal for me.
Gavin has grown out of his diaper now.
I'm starting to. I go back sometimes.
He goes back and curls up in his warm, soggy diaper.
Yeah, just for the, for the memories, for the good times. Anyways, and yeah, I got it to go, and I've been playing a bunch of records. I've gone through Led Zeppelin 1 and 4, some hip hop. Right now in there I have Sound City, which is the thing that Dave Grohl did with a bunch of other musicians from the Sound City recording studio in Van Nuys. Yeah.
Yeah, and,
I've been playing a bunch of shit. I rediscovered this album that I have, which is a U2 record that they recorded on their war tour in 1983. It was an unofficial release, so basically bootleg.
Yeah.
But it's like really clear, like really nice audio quality.
Yeah.
And I discovered that there were only 100 pressings of each color of record. So there's like 4 different colors. And I got the purple one. So it was like one of 100.
Nice.
And I picked it up at Randy's Records for like $20 like 4 years ago.
Hell yeah. No, and with me, like I mentioned, I don't listen to podcasts much. But since I drive so much, I mean, if Spotify was pay by the hour, I'd be broke.
And I'm the same way with Spotify, but I used to only listen to music when driving.
Yeah. And
I started getting into podcasts slowly, and now it's just ramping up more and more and more. And that's basically all I listen to now when I'm driving.
Yeah, and see, with me, it's just always been music. I remember back in the day when Spotify used to, it was like, I think they stopped it in 2015, but they used to send you an email with a link that would show you your listening stats for the year. So they would show you, oh, you listened X amount of hours.
Well, they do a year-end recap.
They do. They give you like your most listened to songs and those things, but they don't give you stats anymore.
Oh, like how many times you played something?
No, I'm talking about your overall Spotify experience. Like you listened to 1,000 hours of music on Spotify this year. That's what they used to do.
They don't do that anymore?
Nope.
You sure?
They stopped it in 2015. All they do now is they give you the year in review with all your top things from that year.
Because I remember one year I listened to like 80,000 hours.
That's not even possible. You know how much?
Or minutes. It was 80,000 something.
There you go.
Yeah.
To give you some perspective,
it might have been 80,000 minutes. It was a fuck ton of music.
I'm curious. 80,000 hours. Woo-hoo. By the way, 80,000 hours is just shy of 10 years, by the way.
Okay, fine. Okay, 80,000 minutes.
No, I was just curious at that point how long it actually was.
How long is 80,000 minutes? That's my question.
So 80,000 divided by 60.
80. Someone's trying to get up the hill. Divided by 60 is 1,333.333.
So a lot of hours.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's and I was I was right up there as well. I think it was right around 1,300 to 1,500 hours because at that time I was driving full time, all day, every day, 10 hours a day, about 300 miles a day locally.
Right.
So I was constantly everywhere, and yeah, music's definitely something I'm thankful for, despite like having the terrible occasion of having to sell my drum set last week or a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
You know, it's it's still there and it's never going to go away. And eventually maybe I'll get back into it in one form or another. It's just,
You feel like a drum set for you is replaceable? Like if you went back and either tried to like replace the same set with the same heads and the same cymbals and hi-hat and kick and all that, if you tried to replace everything, would it still feel empty to you? Or if you went and got like a better drum set?
In this case, I would definitely do better. The reason why is at the time...
You're not answering my question.
Wait, sorry. I guess I'm not understanding.
Could a drum set be replaced?
Yes.
Okay.
Because
what I'm getting at is there still an empty feeling of I shouldn't have sold that drum set?
actually, no.
Okay.
Oh, I was sad. I shed a few tears that day of getting rid of it just because of the situation that caused me to need to get rid of it.
Right.
Which was part of the catalyst of starting this driving thing, was because just the money ups and downs were getting annoying. There was great ups and there was really low lows where I was like, okay, I need something. Anyways, but that drum set at the time that I bought it was my dream. However, it wasn't the best that I could have gotten. And
Right.
like, it was very good. It was the highest you can get in like a mid-grade drum set before going to professional.
So it's like a Ferrari, like a 458 Speciale, not like a Chiron.
I wouldn't even say this. It's still below that. I would say it's probably equivalent to something along the lines of like,
Cayman GT4.
yeah, probably like think like a 911 Touring, something like that.
Like GT3 Touring?
Not GT3.
Oh, sorry, yeah, the 911T. Duh.
Yeah, the 911T. You know, it's like it's pretty smack dab in the middle.
Okay,
You know, it's not the best, but it's also far from the worst.
gotcha.
So like at the time, that was the best I could afford, and it ended up being like my dream spec and everything. But at this point, after like day 2 of getting rid of it, I was more excited for like, okay, if I go back to it, I'm gonna, I can get like the real fancy thing that I want,
Right.
and that's, that can be part of this drive. I don't know if I ever will. That's the sad thing, is that
I think you will.
after day 2, part of my realization that I was actually okay with is that regardless of if I go back to it or not, that was connected to some of the best memories of my life back in the day. And those can stay memories, and I'm perfectly happy with it. It's not that I don't want to make more, but say that like I had...
To say that you'll never have a drum set or never have a drum set of that caliber, I don't know if I believe that.
And I'm not saying I never will. I'm saying that if by chance like business took off so well that I just honestly didn't have time to think about it, went crazy, and
Yeah.
life happened and I never ended up getting back into it, I would still end up moderately okay with that, because it was such a influential part of my life at the time I had it and the time I was actually using it. And it, still shaped me as a human being. There was no, at the time I got rid of it, it hadn't been used in 3 years. It had been sitting.
Right.
So although it was painful to get rid of it, it had kind of been delayed.
I mean, it's like if I sold that record player just now. It'd be the same thing.
Yeah.
Except, I mean,
Except now you're
very,
using it.
very, very different, but same as in, hasn't been used for a long, long time, formed many great memories with it, and at that time your life was formative.
See, and the difference is that luckily you were able to utilize this. I was struggling to see a situation or time when I would be able to utilize the drum set. So
That's the thing that sucks about drums. They're like, you can't take them places, really. They're fucking really loud.
yeah, I mean, and they make mutes that can go on acoustic sets. Everybody also claims electric sets are great because they
You can plug in your headphones.
ultimately tunable, plug in the headphones, quiet, etc. They have
guitars like that too, but
they have many good qualities, but it depends on what you're going for. There's something similar to arguments that can happen with cars. There's something about the aesthetics of an authentic piece of equipment that's not electronic.
yeah, like if there was a Tesla, if like the new Roadster comes out or whatever, they'll charge $250,000. It's like, okay, sure. Or for a genuine, raw, authentic experience, you can buy something like a Singer that engages and has a sound and a feel and is tactical.
There's a reason why nostalgia like that is so big.
Yeah.
Because, in increasingly, and we're going kind of really weirdly deep here, increasing like with these technological advances, as great as they are, because they are amazing feats of engineering,
Yep.
you know, you start to lose a lot of that, you know, feel. Because in the end, like all of humans have senses. You start to lose connection with those senses because it's all buried in an amazing piece of technology.
Right.
Whereas you know, you don't have the feeling.
Here, keep talking. I will get a drink.
Okay. Yeah, you don't have, you know, for instance, I can play an electronic drum set, but part of the drums to me is that, okay, I have rebound coming off the drum with my hands. I can feel the hits going, you know, reverberating through the air. You can actually be feeling the air move as you're playing the drum set. If you're sitting there and you're standing in front of your drummer who's, you know, got a kick drum with a porthole in the front head, you can feel, you know, gallons of air rushing out of that every time he hits. And, you know, there's something about those senses that, you know, connects us a little bit more with those things. And that's not to discount the new technology. I'm not I'm not going all old man here and saying that technology is bad.
Get off my lawn.
Yeah, exactly. I'm not going all old man here and screaming, get off my lawn. I'm all for the technology because as the technology advances, we've got so many more things we can do and potentially, you know, bridge the gap between, you know, acoustic and electric. That's, you know, that's why retro mods are so good these days, because we have the technology to, for instance, make a Singer, which has a more modern drivetrain with a crazy setup, but has that vintage aesthetic appeal and feel.
Yes. I mean, everything about Singers, I mean, they're also handmade.
Yep.
I mean, control arms are even like artistically beautiful on those, but they're also super engaging and they sound amazing. And
But my point is that because of the advances in technology we have,
but guess what? When you turn it on every morning, it's gonna run.
it's reliable. The
Yeah, it's
heat
got
works, the AC works. It just
Xenon headlights.
it functions.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's
it works.
where that's where like I can't just say, oh, I'm not okay
I think
with
the
it.
better analogy for your argument or your conversation would be like a GT3 Touring. Would be like, yes, it's modern and it's new and it works and it has tech, but it's still raw and engaging.
Yeah. Agreed.
And it's tactical. Not in the same ways as a Singer is, but in its own way.
Yep. The best of both worlds. But anyways, and that's basically, well, I guess I'll say that's another thing I'm thankful for.
Yeah, exactly. Thankful for tactical, raw things.
Things that make you feel. Things that wake up your bah humbug.
Bah humbug.
Mr. Hat.
I'm thankful for the Fiat 500 at Barth.
Yes.
For that same reason.
I'm thankful for the little mouse that bounded me and Steve down the mountain.
Oh, boy.
Oh, it was great.
And also Zach.
Yes.
Exactly. Shout out.
I'm thankful for the ability to travel
Yeah.
and experience new places. Because...
And not just places, but things that you experience in those places. Malibu Kitchen with that fucking sandwich. I still think about that sandwich.
I don't know what they do. They liked one of our posts.
What?
Okay, so let me pull it up.
This is Malibu Kitchen. Malibu Kitchen Gourmet. They're just off the PCH. It's where they host cars and coffee events. Was it one of Exhibition of Speeds?
I believe so. I am trying to find it currently.
Interesting. These are the kind of cars and coffees.
Nope, it was one of mine. It was my picture with the sandwich. They liked my picture with the sandwich.
Gotcha.
Yep, Malibu Country Market.
Yeah. One of the best sandwiches I will probably ever have in my life.
I am thankful for that sandwich.
Is it okay if we make that like a tradition every year?
Oh, are you kidding?
Is that okay with you?
It's more than okay. I am willing to blow $12 on that sandwich too much. In fact, we might have to like restrict how much we make it a tradition, because I might go there every damn morning and bankrupt myself with.
That could be a thing.
Oh man.
Start a sandwich fund.
Actually, no.
Here's start a sandwich bank account.
Here's what we need to do the next time we go down there and we're staying in a beach
sandwich
house.
card.
Yeah, no, like literally everybody just puts in like a massive pot, and every morning I'll just run down to Malibu Country Mart and grab sandwiches for everybody.
You would be everyone's hero.
I know. I already am. I'm not the hero you needed. I'm the hero you deserved.
No, you are the hero that I need, not the hero I deserve.
That's better. Yep. But anyways, So we're coming up on time here, but we'd love to hear, like, what are you guys thankful for? Especially since this is airing the day before Thanksgiving. You got plenty of time to comment.
Yeah, and let us know what your favorite dishes at Thanksgiving are. Honestly, I'm a drumstick guy when it comes to both chicken and turkey. So that's a tradition of mine. Every year as I get a drumstick, I get a big thing of mashed potatoes, stuffing, gravy, of course. I'm not a heathen. And then what else? My mom will make a dessert of some kind. She kills it every year.
Yeah, my grandma does it every year, and she kills it every year. And to me, it's
Where is Thanksgiving for you this year?
Sandy.
Gotcha.
It's literally down the street from your work, actually. They live, if you just keep going on 13th, south a little bit more. They live
13th
on
East?
13th East,
Yeah.
yeah. They live on the left, just
Oh, cool.
not far.
Gotcha.
My favorite dish by far is going to be stuffing.
Stuffing is when it's done right.
Yes.
It's the fucking jam.
Stuffing is by far my favorite
Nice.
portion of the Thanksgiving meal.
Sure.
I'm actually not that much of a turkey person.
I get it.
I basically the only time I eat turkey is Thanksgiving.
So I'm the same way.
Yeah, and so I'll have, when I do have turkey, it's the dark meat all the way.
I'm dark meat in general,
Uh-huh.
both turkey and chicken. But yeah, dark meat for sure.
Yeah, dark meat with a little bit of gravy on it. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
So yeah, please tell us what your favorite Thanksgiving dish is, and also what you're thankful for.
Yeah, let us know. Slide in our DMs. Hit us up. Email us, mailbag.eos@gmail.com.
Comment on our Instagram.
Yeah, what's funny is that C8ZR1 photo that I posted, I just took a screenshot of Motor Trend's article on it, and that's now not only the most engaging photo that I have on Exhibition of Speed, but also more than anything I have on my personal gp.media photography account, so that's kind of funny. Even more than the fucking McLaren Senna that I shot in Idaho.
Yeah.
Yeah, funny little coincidences. But anyways, yeah, Merry Thanksgiving, Happy Thanksgiving.
Merry Thankmas.
Merry Thankmas. Yeah.
There we go.
I'm
That's going to
down
be the
with
title
that.
of this episode. Merry Thankmas.
Yes, abso-fucking-lutely. But until Friday, I've been Gavin.
And I've been Justin.
And this has been the Exhibition of Speed podcast. Goodbye. Gobble, gobble.